welcome to the 10th edition of Power Dynamics for Life. I'm Dr. Aisha Haynes-Belizaire, and today's topic is political violence and how American anxieties threaten democracy. Now, today we're going to be talking about the attack on the Speaker of the House, Nancy Pelosi's husband, conspiracy theories, and the upcoming elections. So first, let's jump into the topic and let's talk about the attack on Paul Pelosi, who is the husband of Nancy Pelosi, who is the Speaker of the House of Representatives. She is the third person, the third most important person in government, and is the line of succession goes, it's president, vice president, and then Speaker of the House. So if something happens to the president, the vice president becomes president, and if something happens to both the president and the vice president, the Speaker of the House becomes president. So that is how powerful that position is. So Friday night, an attacker broke into the house of Nancy Pelosi and her husband Paul Pelosi in San Francisco. And the attacker broke in and assaulted Paul Pelosi, who is 82 years old, with a hammer. When he came in, he was yelling, "Where's Nancy? Where's Nancy?" And Paul Pelosi is currently now in the hospital recovering from surgery for a cracked skull and other injuries in his body. And the person who broke in, his name is David DePape. He said that he wanted to kidnap, this is his confession to the police, he wanted to kidnap Nancy Pelosi and make her pay for her crimes. He wanted to break her kneecaps so that she could be rolled in front of the Congress so that everybody could see, and that they also would have to pay for their crimes. Now, this man has been a follower of conspiracy theories, every conspiracy theory you can possibly imagine over the last 15 years, and he is actually being charged now with attempted murder and attempted kidnapping. Now, let's talk about who Nancy Pelosi is. As I said, she is the Speaker of the House, first woman Speaker of the House, and she first became the Speaker of the House after the 2006 elections, when the Democrats took back power from the Republicans in the House of Representatives, and also she became Speaker of the House the second time in the after the 2018 elections, when the Democrats again took power back in these in the 2018 election. And she's the first and only woman Speaker of the House. She is from San Francisco, and I too am from San Francisco. That's where I was born and raised, although I live in Georgia, and I am representing today San Francisco with my SF Cali Girl beret on. So yes, San Francisco is one of the most liberal cities in the United States, arguably the most liberal city. And because of that, Nancy Pelosi has been made an enemy and a villain and the boogeyman of the right wing. But she is a strong leader. She is an intelligent woman. She can go toe-to-toe with any man in the Congress and presidents. She has done that, especially her battles with Donald Trump have been epic. She is a strong advocate for women's rights, for children, for seniors, for people who are marginalized in our communities. She's a social justice advocate. She was instrumental in getting the Affordable Care Act, Obamacare, passed. She is a strong leader in her caucus, a very smart policy proposals that she represents, and she is just a very strong leader and very intimidating to a lot of men in power. But you will see her used as a boogeyman, and you will see this in political ads for going on almost 2 decades. She has been used in political ads across the country. And no matter who's running, whether it's at the national, state, or local level, and the local level, where she has a lot of state and local politics she has nothing to do with, but you'll see in ads, oh, if you vote for this Democrat, then Nancy Pelosi, they're going to be a puppet for Nancy Pelosi. So she has been vilified for a very long time. One of the things also that you may be wondering is like, where was the security? Why wasn't her house secured? Well, in leadership in the Congress, they have security, but that security follows them. And she was not at home because she was on the other side of the country doing her speaker duties. But since 2017, there has been a 144% increase in threats and death threats to members of Congress. And this is according to the Capitol Police. It has been so much so, and as we also saw the attacks after January 6th. And I also want to say, when this man broke into Nancy Pelosi's house, saying, "Where's Nancy?" there were two main chants during January 6th, which was, "Where's Nancy?" and also, "Hang Mike Pence, bring out Nancy." So those were the two people that they were after. But the members of Congress have been given $10,000 to help shore up security. But what's $10,000 if you're getting that per year for security? And the members of Congress, they don't have security, and their families don't have security. Leadership, their families don't have security. So when you think about somebody being, the third most powerful person in government, their families is being discussed now that they should, have security. But this also threatens us living in a democracy, because we live in an open society. And, our representatives, we're able to touch and, talk to them and see them at public events. They're at openings, groundbreaking ceremonies, openings for business at hospitals, at schools, at colleges. We see them, businesses, they represent us, and we don't want to have a society where we are no longer able to talk to or to, be in direct contact with our representatives. And this is all as we see this political chaos going on in our government. We look at, there's been violence over the last decade towards members of Congress, and it's just increased more. But there were two members of Congress that had been injured in shootings that had happened, and gravely injured. Democratic Congresswoman Gabrielle Giffords in 2011. She had what she called Congress on the Corner, and it was at a grocery store in her district in Arizona. And there was a man that came there and, massacred people, shot up a bunch of people. And Gabrielle Giffords no longer serves in Congress because of her injuries. She is not able to. Steve Scalise, another member of Congress, he's a Republican, and actually in leadership. In 2017, there was a Republican baseball practice, and a man came and shot that up. Steve Scalise was gravely injured. He has made a very good recovery, but I think he still walks with the cane. And so we've seen these increases in violence. And one of the things about conspiracy theories that I want to talk about is the fact that, the rise in the internet and social media, we now have it to where we don't just all watch, the same news stations. Some people will watch and follow certain podcasts or websites that will support their particular political beliefs, and there really isn't a balance, and they never get any other information. And a really good example of this is and one thing I do want to say, that most conspiracy theories, there is a thread of truth, but then there's always a whole bunch of extra stuff put on top of it. And, you just can't go with that. And a lot of people in our society have really bought into this. One of the conspiracy theorists that I want to talk about is Alex Jones. And just a few weeks ago, he was ordered to pay almost $1 billion to the Sandy Hook families. And if you remember the massacre at Sandy Hook Elementary in Newtown, Connecticut, that was 10 years ago, where 20 first graders died and 6 of their teachers. And Alex Jones said that that was a false flag, that it was an effort of the government to come and take your guns and take away the Second Amendment right. And that just was not true. But so many people believed it because Alex Jones had a podcast called InfoWars, and people would listen to it and they would buy into it and believe it. And there are a lot of people out there in society that are just not stable, and they will act on these things. They think they're actually doing a service to the country, and there would be people who would make threats to these Sandy Hook families. They would go and vandalize the graves of their children. These people had to move over and over again. Can you imagine that you lost your child and then someone goes and vandalizes their grave because they believe this garbage that this man on line on the internet on a podcast is putting out? So he was ordered to pay in court I think it was 970 or 80 something million dollars, which is almost $1 billion. And I support that judgment 100% because he put these families through hell, through torture. But then also, we have people out there that have been making jokes about the attack on Paul Pelosi. You actually have Elon Musk, one of the richest men in the world, that just bought Twitter for $144 billion. And $44 billion. He bought Twitter for $44 billion. And he put out over the weekend, there must be something more to this attack on Paul Pelosi. And, it's just, giving insinuation that there was something that he did or Nancy Pelosi did. And he took it down, but this man has millions of followers, and people running for office right now are making jokes about what happened. This is the 82-year-old grandfather that this happened to. And, even with what happened with Steve Scalise and Gabrielle Giffords, the Congress at that time came together and they said there's no place for this type of violence. And they denounced the violence. You don't see that happening now. And this is where we see the chaos in our politics. And the chaos is caused by people who want to take control. We're dealing with a lot of election deniers. People are now currently running for different political offices. We're looking at in the House of Representatives, which is up for re-election every 2 years. And in the Senate, they are up. 1/3 of the Senate is up every 2 years. And then we have state and local government elections. We have elections of governors in different states. We have elections of attorney generals and secretary of states. And these offices are also very important because these are the people who are going to determine how the voting laws, what's enforced, what's not enforced. And so it is so important that we get out and we vote. I cannot state that enough. And for all the people that are out here who are saying that voting doesn't matter, since 2020, there have been multiple voter suppression laws passed, making it more difficult for people to vote. Voting has been one of those things since the inception of the United States of America that certain populations of people have not been able to do. Black people used to not be able to vote. Women used to not be able to vote. And so it has been one of those things that has always been this constant pull of trying to control who is able to vote. Just ask yourself, if it wasn't important, would it be so many people trying to make sure that you didn't do it? So Tuesday, November 8th is election day for the midterm election. Everybody in the House of Representatives is up for re-election, and 1/3 of the Senate, and a lot of state and local government races. Please get out and vote. If your state has early voting, make sure you get out and vote early. I voted early. I voted last week. This is my sticker. As I said, I'm in Georgia, and it says that, Georgia voter, I secured my vote. Make sure you participate in democracy, because because when democracy, when it's gone and we're sliding towards autocracy, it's not like we're going to just get it back overnight. And I don't think anybody wants to live in that type of world. So thank you so much for watching. Please like, share, subscribe, comment. I answer all comments. And I want to thank you today for joining me here at Power Dynamics for Life. I'm Dr. Aisha Haynes-Belizaire. Have a blessed day, and I will see you very soon. Bye-bye.